There's something mysterious about those who don't speak much. They exist quietly, almost like shadows in a world that cannot stop making noise. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's depth. Their stillness isn't weakness, it's restraint. And their quiet presence carries more meaning than 1,000 careless words. People who don't talk too much are often misunderstood. Some mistake their silence for arrogance, others for shyness. But in truth, their silence is a form of self-protection, a boundary drawn not out of fear, but wisdom. They've learned that not every thought deserves an audience, and not every listener deserves access to their inner world. These quiet souls understand the weight of words. They've seen how easily people speak it, how casually truth is distorted, how quickly promises are broken. They've watched conversations become weapons and emotions turned into performances for validation. So they choose to speak only when their words are anchored in meaning, when silence would no longer serve truth. Psychologically, their quietness is a reflection of self-awareness. They have learned to live inside their own minds without needing constant external affirmation. They are not empty, they are full of thoughts, observations, and reflections that most people never take the time to form. They are thinkers, watchers, and internal wanderers, navigating the landscapes of thought and feeling that others are too distracted to see. They are not detached from the world. They are simply detached from noise. Their solitude is not isolation. It's a sacred space where their mind can breathe. In that stillness, they find clarity. They notice details others miss. The subtle shift in tone, the quiet change in energy, the truth behind what isn't said. Silence sharpens their intuition. It gives them the ability to see through illusions and understand people without the need for words. But make no mistake, their calm exterior hides entire universes. They think deeply, feel intensely, and dream vividly. They may appear distant, but their emotions run deep, like rivers beneath frozen ground. They have simply learned to keep those emotions private, not because they are afraid, but because they know that not everyone is capable of handling them. There's a certain pain in their quietness too, a quiet ache born from being misunderstood, from being mistaken for cold or indifferent. But even this they accept with grace, because they've realized that the need to explain oneself to the world is another form of noise. And silence, when chosen consciously, becomes a kind of freedom. People who don't talk too much are often the ones who have seen the dark sides of communication, gossip, misunderstanding, betrayal, and noise disguised as connection. They've learned that words can build or destroy, heal or wound, connect or corrupt. And so, they use them sparingly, not out of fear, but out of reverence. For them, speaking is not an act of impulse, but an act of intention. There's power in their quiet. When they finally speak, people listen, not because they are loud, but because their words carry weight. Silence, after all, amplifies significance. In a world addicted to attention, they are the ones who remind us that mystery still exists, that presence can be louder than sound, and that stillness is not emptiness but mastery. They live by a different rhythm, one not dictated by the noise of others, but by the quiet truth of their own awareness. And in that silence, they find something that most will spend their entire lives searching for: peace. Because in silence, they are closest to themselves. And to know oneself, truly and deeply, is the rarest form of intelligence. Their silence is a form of discipline. People who don't talk too much have learned something most never will: that silence is not just a habit, it's a discipline. To remain quiet in a world that thrives on reaction is an act of control, a quiet rebellion against the compulsion to always respond, always prove, always perform. Their silence is not born from weakness or fear. It's an inner strength, a mastery over the ego. They have learned to resist the temptation to fill every gap with words, to explain themselves when misunderstood, or to argue just to be right. They have realized that peace is more valuable than being heard, and clarity more precious than approval. Psychologically, this discipline grows from self-trust. They no longer need to seek validation in the noise of conversation. They know who they are, and they no longer feel the need to broadcast it. While others are busy justifying their worth through words, they express it through silence, through the calm certainty that truth doesn't need defending. Their quiet is also a form of self-preservation. They know that energy is finite, and every word spoken is an exchange. So they choose their moments with care, not out of calculation, but from wisdom. They understand that the mind, when too exposed, loses its strength, and that sometimes mystery is not concealment, it's power. In their restraint lies something rare, peace untouched by the world's demand for attention. They've mastered the art of letting others speak, letting the world argue, letting the noise unfold while they remain still, composed, and undisturbed, because they know that the loudest voice rarely holds the most truth, and often those who say less see more. Their silence then is not emptiness, it's focus, it's clarity, it's the disciplined choice to protect what matters most, their inner peace. There is power in silence, there is depth in stillness. Those who don't talk too much teach us that presence is louder than words, and that peace lies not in speaking, but in understanding. If this reflection resonated with you, if it stirred something deep inside, subscribe and join us as we continue exploring the hidden layers of human nature, solitude, and quiet strength. Here we honor the unseen, the unspoken, and the profound wisdom that lives within silence.